Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So let me introduce myself. My name is Xavier Michon. I am the Deputy Director of a UN entity called the United Nations Capital Development Fund. And I'm sure you're wondering, what is the UN doing here at the NFT Paris conference? So let me tell you about it. So I'll start, first of all, just to introduce the organization very quickly, and that'll take you through the whole sequence in why we're here and what we're trying to achieve via NFTs. So I represent an entity that basically we're an impact investor. So we utilize finance and we invest in private sector entities, in public sector, and via different instruments. So our expertise is in that field, and we see technology as an enabler to end poverty, to reduce inequalities, and to address basically all the challenges that we see in our societies, but in specific in developing economies. And we try to address the needs of the countries that are the poorest in the world. There are 46 countries. These are the poorest countries in the world, and that's where capital is very shy. And so we try to entice investors, providers of financing, to reach out to those communities and to see also emerging market and frontier markets as an opportunity, not just as a challenge. And I think that's something that we're trying to do. So let me take you through this journey and tell you why we're here for the NFT. We have a program called Unit Life. Unit Life is a program that basically is trying to address the challenge of chronic malnutrition through innovative finance. So first question, what is chronic malnutrition? And let me start with maybe a personal opinion. Everybody says that we're all born equal. Actually, we're not, because of chronic malnutrition. So for those who don't know, chronic malnutrition is basically during the conception of a human being, and basically when the fetus is being developed, up to the first 9 months, if you don't have the proper micronutrients, if you don't have the proper nutrition, basically your development is not what it should be. And everybody thinks it's about physical development. Actually, it's about the cognitive development. That means that we have today, in a day and age, in a world that basically we have artificial intelligence that is solving most of our problems, and everybody's talking about a specific entity today that is basically revolutionizing the AI industry. We have a world that technology is solving all our problems, but we have today 800 million people that are chronically malnourished. And about 20% of those, so it's about 200 million, are young people and children in specific that are chronically malnourished. So that means that basically when they're born, because their mother didn't give them, wasn't nourished during the pregnancy properly. And it's not in terms of sufficient nourishment, it's about proteins, it's about the quality of the nutrition in the first 9 months. Basically, this is an individual that does not the capacity to absorb information, that doesn't have the cognitive development and participate in society. So it's someone, for those who play golf, who is born with basically a handicap. Basically cannot participate in the economy, cannot participate in society as he or she should. And I think in the day and age that we live today, with the progress in technology, in science, this is something that is unacceptable. So we took it on us to do our part, basically on the idea that it's not acceptable to have 200 million kids and another generation of 200 million kids that are coming and they don't have the same chances that you and I have today. So this is our part. So Unit Life was created exactly by that. UNCDF doesn't know anything about chronic malnutrition, but we know about finance. So basically, our approach is to find innovative ways to finance this challenge and finance those actors that are on the ground and that are making the difference. So we spot the initiatives that are successful, that can be scaled up, they can be replicated in other countries, and we finance them. And so what do? We find different ways to raise financing, and that's basically where the NFTs come in. Yeah, sorry. I just came back this morning from New York, so bear with me. We have partnered with Retrieve. So Retrieve, I have here Jeremy, CEO, and thank you for the partnership and the trust you put into us. We have established a partnership whereby basically we're trying to leverage their expertise, their enthusiasm, but also the socially, let's say, our like-minded approach in terms that we do believe that we need to do something about that. And that's where the ideas of the NFT came in. But before that, we are collaborating. The next one? No. We are collaborating on two fronts. First of all, Retrieve is contributing 30% basically of the service fees for the transactions that they are basically emanating via the system through a cause. And basically, in this case, 30% of those transactions is coming to Unit Life, that is financing activities that are geared towards ending chronic malnutrition. And again, we're very thankful about that. So the conversation started with Retrieve, and then we started thinking, what else do we do? And then, there's enthusiasm, and this is a team that is extremely creative. So the idea of finding a crossroad between art, technology, and finance came in. And that's where we started thinking about the NFT, an NFT collection that I'm pleased to present today, which basically represent the 17 goals, the SDGs. If, for those who don't know, these are 17 goals that have been approved in 2015, basically approved by the governments in developing economies, but also the governments in the developing world to address the societal, the environmental, the economic problems that we see in developing economies. And they go from ending chronic malnutrition up to reducing poverty, addressing climate change, talking about governance, and so on. So the idea came that why don't we develop a collection which has 17 goals. That was the first idea. The second one, and that's basically what we presented today, actually it's a collection with 34 NFTs that were developed by five known artists in the, so in the IT industry and in designing of softwares, gaming software and so on. And basically one NFT represents the idyllic world. We have reduced hunger, everybody's happy, everybody's well fed. And the other NFT represent the dystopic world. Actually, we did not achieve, and actually we're in the opposite world. And this is where basically we want to contrast those two dimensions. And here, you have a couple, you don't really see it, but the idea was to launch that connection, and we will launch it we will announce it on Monday, so it will be publicly announced. The collection will be publicly announced in a specific event, the 44 NFTs. And then we will deploy through a dedicated website, so an auction website. And so whomever is interested, you can bid on the 34 NFTs. It's a limited collection. We have 100, if I'm correct, NFTs, maybe a little bit more. And basically the idea is to leverage basically the drive, the interest there is in NFT today, the artwork, which is, in my opinion, extremely, how can I say, innovative but a little bit provocative, and that was the intention, and also technology and the power of basically two partners that are working together. So what we wanted to unveil today is this collection. There's more to come on the first. You will see it online, and there's a dedicated website for it. So I'll let Jeremy, if he wants to tell you the website. But this is where we stand. And this is exactly the idyllic picture. So this is about the poverty goal. It's the goal number one. You have today in Monrovia a developed world. Kids are playing. They're going to school. The environment is conducive for opportunities. And you have another one, which is on the right, which is the dystopian world. So you have a garage there. On the back, you have, of course, the Tour Eiffel, a world full of garbage. There's someone who's picking up elements from the garbage in a world in the future. And that's basically what we have tried to contrast through this art collection. And so basically you will have those two pictures in that collection. So the reason why we're here is exactly that. From my side is, and I'm also emphasizing, at the UN we don't do the, I mean, it's not just the Security Council. I think there are many initiatives that are taking place. And from our side, we have launched, for example, a fund on the New York Stock Exchange. We have 3 fund managers, and we leverage technology more and more. And of course, we invite you, first of all, to support this initiative, to be part of the launch on the first, but also we open for conversation in terms of how we can leverage technologies, how NFTs can be a solution to generate awareness, about a reality that nobody knows. Chronic nutrition, ask your friends, your colleagues, your family, ask them if they know about that. And ask them if they know if that there are 200 kids today that are affected by that. I do believe that that's something that raises the eyebrows, and in this day and age, there's something that needs to be addressed. So from our side, we do our part, and again, we thank, of course, Retrieve would have shared that dream with us to do an additional action that generates awareness, that generates, of course, financing, because the proceeds of basically of the auction will go towards activities to end chronic malnutrition. And I think it's also a model whereby basically we leverage NFTs, we leverage art, and we leverage cause, and I think that's a model that can be a win-win and can be replicated. So I don't want to add more on that, but we're happy to discuss, of course, on the corridors outside with you. This is a first, but I'm sure there will be many more experiences along those lines that will be tapped into. As the UN, we bring the advocacy, the conveying power that we have. I think the principles that we adhere to and the ideals we adhere to. We have today many private entities that are partnering with us that adhere to those principles, that they want to do something. I'm sure that many of you, I would be willing to do the same. So I'll stop there and I'll thank you. And of course, I'll give you an appointment for the first. Can we unveil the URL or not? No? No, we cannot. So we leave it as a surprise. So we stay there. Stay tuned. On the first, we'll unveil the collection, and thank you for your attention.